So should I be joining from Zoom or from the YouTube link? I could join from Zoom, right? Okay. Okay. So I'm already on. I just have to wait. Okay, thanks. Is that you, Eric? So should I be joining from Zoom or from the YouTube link? I could join from Zoom, right? Strange noises. Strange noises. Okay, so I'm already on. I just have to wait. Okay, thanks.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah,
Just so you know, because I think, did you open up the YouTube link?
I did.
Oh, okay, yeah. So when it's fine to have it open if you want, but so you don't get
Should I be joining from Zoom or from the YouTube?
keep it off when you're having your chat with
I'll turn off the YouTube link.
yeah, because you won't need it on. You're fine
I'm
with
turning it off right now.
All right.
Okay, it's off. You hear me still?
Yeah, I still hear you.
What? But the other is okay now.
Yeah, you're not. There's no echo and all that, so you're good.
Okay, good. Why is there a repetition?
So yeah, you still somewhere you still have a window open with
I gotta
YouTube.
find my window, huh?
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Okay.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah,
Just so you know, because I think, did you open up the YouTube link?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now I'm just on Zoom.
Okay, awesome. So now you're all set. I'm gonna keep it open in case you have any difficulties.
You're a good man.
All right, man.
The best.
My man.
How do I get rid of my face?
You want to get rid of your face?
Well, I'm on live, and then next to it is my face.
Well,
Whenever it comes on, will that disappear?
oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, when I'm talking, you see your avatar picture. When you and him talk, it'll just be your screen and his screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
You there? Okay, I need to get rid of my one picture. How do I get rid of that one picture? Oh, okay. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do a thing. Okay. Stuff's happening. Oh, look at you. You got us on the screen. Look at that. We're on the screen.
Finally.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Can you be seen too?
What?
We can't see you except me on the screen. What about you?
I don't know why you're not seeing me.
Oh, we
Video.
want to see both of us.
Yeah, hold please. I maybe it's I see my okay, hold on. I definitely want to stop this video. It's weird. Oh, I see me. I see me.
Oh, there you are up in the corner.
Yeah, here, I'll stop my share and then we can share. It's like kind of funny.
You run it. I can't. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're almost on, right?
Yeah, I'll share it at a certain point here.
How do I get rid of my face?
Well, I don't know who that is there. That's somebody else. That might be Julian, right?
Well, I have me here. Do you see my face?
I see your face.
But how do I get rid of it? As to chat.
Well, it looks
Hi.
like you signed in on another computer.
I'm going to hide non-video participants. See if I can get rid of that, okay?
Yeah?
Ha, 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 ha. I am a technical wizard.
Look at you
Look at
go.
you, you're half naked. It's 107 here.
Yeah, that's what it is here. It's crazy town.
You were at 111 we saw.
I was. You know, let me grab some water real quick. Is Julian on there? Hey, Dad.
Yeah,
Can you tell Julian to call Taylor? What's Julian's number?
I got it.
Just give me
Hey,
Julian's
Siri.
number.
Hey,
I'm
Siri.
here. What's up?
Hey, we're getting the playback on other websites has been disabled by video owner, which is weird
Oh.
because I'm seeing it here. It's working in the in the world, but he says on the website it's not.
Huh.
I'm gonna check it right now. Double checking. Yeah, video unavailable. Watch this video on YouTube. Playback on the other websites has been disabled by the video owner. But why are we seeing it in the world? That's very strange.
Yeah.
World behind me?
No, it's in the 3D experience right now.
Oh,
That's very strange. I made it the same way I usually do. Let me see if there's some settings I can look at.
30 seconds.
Well, the world's watching, right?
Yeah, let the world watch.
I'm joking.
With the time limit and stuff, I'm not sure there's much I can do. I'm looking at. Unless we were to end it now and kind of start it over, where I could check settings, but I mean, when you open up the, it automatically creates the YouTube link. So the only thing that I actually do outside of a normal Zoom host is press the live stream to YouTube.
Yeah, we're live. I mean, it's definitely. I'm registering it over here.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Live stream to YouTube.
Maybe it's the link.
we're
Live. I mean, it's definitely. I'm registering it over here. Might be the link.
Well, we should be on at 7:15.
YouTube.
Maybe it's the. Ooh. Yeah. Well, it is what it is, guys.
Yeah.
Week long, right?
So that'd be.
As long as people could see us after all this time in kerfluffle, here we are, the two of us, and we're together. It's kind of been Burning Man weather, right? You had 111
Oh
to
my God.
107. We had 107. It's just going down 103. I mean, it's kind of like the worst days on the playa, isn't it? I don't think it ever
One of
got
those
better.
days in the playa where you would not leave your RV.
Yeah. So here we have an in California, Nevada experience. Very weird fires. But I want to say hello to you, Helix.
Hey,
Or
Pops.
if I slip and say Eric,
Call me whatever you want, Dad.
I know I'm trying to call you Helix. I guess.
You can call me. I appreciate it. It's nice effort.
But I just want to say, we've reversed roles. Remember how my father used to call and say, "Hey Phil, this is your son David calling." Well, I'm going to do it right now. Hey, hey, Helix, this is your son Phil calling, okay? Because you've been the father of this whole thing, and through hell and success, and not quite the success you want, but a measure of success. And we're going to talk about the stress and the
The
strain.
beginning of a success.
Yeah, more than the
Future
beginning.
success.
More than the beginning, you actually got there. I mean,
Yeah.
for a while, it wasn't clear you weren't going to get
Yeah.
there. So you're the father of the infinite playa, and you're the godfather.
One of two. It's we're
Elliot, yeah, and your team. And you're the godfather of the K-Dome Microdome, which is a great boon to the Ketamine Research Foundation and all the work we're doing around psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, not just with ketamine, but in so many ways. It's given us a grand opportunity. So much as I've felt terrible for the struggle and the delay and all the rest, our programming has been so substantial, thanks to you, that we have an archive that we can use for a very long time to help educate and train and really entertain people. Because some of the stuff we've got is so entertaining. So I just want to start with a great thank you for making this possible in general and for us in particular.
I will accept your thanks and because it's customary for me to not receive that, but I will receive your gratitude and simply respond by saying, though I may have given you the reason, the catalyst, the forum to do it, all the work you did to bring this week of programming together was completely you and your incredible team of people you've got working over there. So, I mean, I think I recognize that a lot of the work I've been doing in the world and in the way I create is to give other people and artists a place to come to exhibit whatever it is they do. So if you look at Amori's, it was the same thing, right? You build this frame by which all of these people can come, this format, this theater that all of these people can come and perform in, and that's seems to be kind of a big part of the role I inhabit, which is creating spaces, which so I'm
That's in a sense, I think, too neutral and not really representative of what you do, because while you create space in vaudeville and give actors opportunities, give us an opportunity to present something really important, you do it within a framework of moral fiber, of concern for human beings, of not about money. I mean, you did this whole thing in the Burning Man spirit. You may lose money, I hope not, but
oh yeah, we there's no question of that.
yeah, but hopefully we'll all make it up with donations. But it's not just that you offer space. You offer space in the most collaborative and thoughtful and loving kind way. And that's what's so remarkable. I mean, there's nothing, you may get benefit out of this down the road where people say, "Oh, this is the world's best thing I've ever seen. I'm going to need this for my show," and I hope that happens, and they'll pay you millions of dollars. But that's not what you did this for.
I've not, me. I'm not a person who's motivated by money. I mean, I like money. I like having money, but mostly because I like to be able to do amazing things with it. It's money for the sake of money has never been my path. My path has always been about creating amazing content, bringing communities together. How do you do this experiment of Burning Man and these types of intentional communities that we create, and how do you foster that? How do you give people a place to come, do what they do best? That fills me with a lot of joy. I mean, in this, as you said, this has been a difficult path, difficult, whatever, 3.5, 4 months to get to this place. I am so, I mean, the heavy lifting on this thing, and I've done some hard work in my life. I've never worked like this. It's just been so crazy, so nonstop. But and there've been so many challenges and things that didn't go the way we wanted them to go. But when I sink in with my intention, the intention remains pure, and the intention was to give people back a taste of this place that they love, and give artists a place to be able to come, and speakers and communities a place to be able to come and share again. And I think what we have created in a very short time is the beginning of something really beautiful. And it's very clear to me, and I think to most people who see it, the capabilities of where this can all go. So yeah.
The construction itself is so beautiful to hang out in.
Yeah.
And the fun of building yourself as whatever you want to be, that's a lot of fun, especially in these times of racism and suppression of people, to say, okay, I want to be a black person. I want to say, pretend I'm white but I'm black, or I'm black and I want to be white. I want to be a girl, I want to be a boy, I want to be transgender. I mean, just to be able to assume other identities is impactful.
That's so important. That was a huge, to be honest with you, it was one of the character configurator, and so much of what we did was guided by the principles. We tried to use the 10 principles as a like, if we can achieve as many of the 10 principles as possible in the creation of the infinite flyer, we feel like we have really achieved. That's the benchmark, and radical self-expression is such a vital part of Burning Man, and it's also about every part of how you express yourself, and that's whatever pronoun you choose, whatever body type you choose and identify with, whatever clothing type you want. And so even this configurator as it is has only I think only about half of the stuff we designed made it in, just because it was one of the things that was most important to me, and also one of the things that cost us the most. I don't mean money, I mean in terms of effort on this project. It's a very complicated thing to get right, and makes it very complicated for the game to have to be able to remember all of these clothing choices and everything you do, and create all these individual things. And it's one of those things where if I look back on it, I might have done it differently, but I also know that that's so important to this experience that I'm not sure I could have. I didn't want people to. We had an issue where people were ripping through the clothing if their bodies were morphing one way or another. So if you got too heavy, or if you got too skinny, the clothes wouldn't stretch, and it was like you were shredding your clothes. And I turned to the team and I said, you guys don't understand how this important it is. I'm not willing to turn this out in a way that it makes it feel like if your body's one way or another, that's wrong, or it's being judged, and by the fact that your very clothes don't fit. Like, that just didn't work for me, like, we had to get that right, because that's so vital. And as you said, and diversity is so vital, and in this moment in time more than ever, and it's something we frankly don't see enough of at Burning Man. And so I wanted people to feel really represented, and that part I'm really, really happy with. Like, I think people have had so much fun with that, and I think people feel like, hey, I can make someone that looks like me, or looks like how I want to look, or something I want to try on for the day. And that's a really powerful.
Well, you use the word diversity, and in many ways, maybe for the people who've tried this, and I wish there were more, and more will come. The takeaway, in a sense, is that the form is irrelevant, that we need to see through the form. We can be what we want to be. We can change things about ourselves that make us broader or more a part of the world in a generous, thoughtful way. And so I think there's a great takeaway from the play of being someone else and putting yourself in someone else's position, even as a game. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw that in your mind.
Oh, it's so fun. I've tried on all kinds of different identities over these last few days, and it's a hoot. You know, it's great.
Yeah. So tell us about some of the difficulties, because I think it would help people to maybe understand why this went the way it went. I mean, from my point of view, all I really heard was that you were trying to bring in new technologies that had never been melded before, and you didn't have enough time really to see how they would interact and meld as one part of it. And you were coming from many different places. You didn't have time to build all the alliances you needed, or
Exactly. Well, what's interesting is, you know, neither Elliot nor I are game makers. You know, we are artists, and we, you know, both work in digital environment creation. Elliot's the master of creating complex and realistic photoreal environments. And so when we started playing with this and thinking about creating this, and all of the original footage that we showed people was out of what's called a single player game, right? Which without a character configurator, and that means you're just wandering around alone and you're checking things out, and that's would have been fairly easy for us to deliver. But when it came to multiplayer, which is bringing in all these different people, there's so much that has to happen because you're literally talking to different servers. For example, I the other day was, you know, my Elliot was driving an art car on his computer, and I hopped aboard it, and he's piloting me around. Well, think about the kind of communication that has to be happening, you know, to be in between these worlds in the software to do that. And so, a normal game, like a video game, and I don't like to consider this a game. It sort of has that feeling now, but at the end of the day, I think it'll feel more like when we have all the features in, like a fully realized social networking environment, you know, like where it's a graphical social network environment. So imagine, you know, like a Facebook, you know, in with a graphical component, and that's really where I think things are heading. It's where certainly VR is taking us, and so forth. And so normally when someone does something like this, it's a good 2 years, and $20 million is like the typical gaming cycle. And we did this in less than 4 months, you know, for under $500,000, you know. And everyone who we told we were doing this told us we were crazy. Anyone who knew better said you guys are crazy. And I think these are the moments where naivete is sort of like the thing that gets you through, because even what we've done and what we managed to get done is amazing considering the time, you know. And you know, what's also really funny and interesting is that we were only really like 1 week off. Like here it is Sunday. If we were sitting where we were, you know, a week ago today, right? Like we 1 more week and we were where we were today, we'd feel really darn good because we'd have this whole week to kind of be rolling things out, and we would have tested. And it was just every single piece of it was working well on its own, but then bringing it all together was where things got really challenging. And the other thing that's challenging, the other really big challenge, is that we wanted this to be a city built by its participants, you know, just as Burning Man is, right? So that means taking art and pieces and experiences from all of these different creators, and that's beautiful, and it was a beautiful idea, and it wouldn't have, you know, it wouldn't be what it is without that. But that means that you're taking all of these different files created for various reasons. Sometimes people create these files as a way to, you know, pre-visualize whatever it is they're building, or they, you know, it was never intended to be used in this way. And so what ended up happening was, of course, everything was coming in late, and we wanted to accommodate, and we didn't make hard cutoffs because we were trying to accommodate things. But then the team has to then take all of these things that have been brought in and make them work and optimize them, because we were getting files that were sent to us that were 2 or 3 gigs up to like 18 gigs, and our entire project file was 4 gigs, which was including everything. So like literally we were getting project files bigger, two or three times bigger than our entire file, that we had to shrink down and make work and get to a place that was manageable. So it's a beautiful, crazy idea and a crazy experiment. And I think if I step back from it, I can say, wow, we actually really succeeded largely. But you know, we had so many other things planned and even built that didn't make it in. All these amazing animations, all of these games, all of these things, and it's all there. And so the plan now, I think, is, you know, over time now, without the crushing deadline of trying to get this all done in a certain time, is to go in and create the product we were, you know, really originally setting out to create. over the next couple of months, and then let people come in and see that, what the product would have looked like in its all of its glory.
I'm so glad to hear that, because in my mind I was going to say, well, what about Columbus Day? Columbus was, we know, a jerk, and he went to jail for killing too many poor people of the Taurino tribe, etc. What about discovering the virtual Burning Man on Columbus Day? Let Columbus or whatever. What about, since it's virtual and we're not held to BLM standards and being on the playa and all of that stuff? You could do a 3-day or 2-day or something that really,
or special events. I think this would be an amazing place to do premieres of things, and to do, it's, the technology is still really expensive, and I think there's a disconnect for people around why the cost was so high, because people are thinking, why are these guys charging that money that's going in their pockets? And the reality is, so little of it goes into our pockets. It's the money, the technology which allows us to take this incredibly high resolution content, that would normally require I've got some music coming through. That would normally require a gaming PC, like I think did you buy one? Did you end up?
I sure did, yeah.
But you don't even have the file on it. We need to get you that. But it's like a $2,000 machine to do this, or we can use this technology which allows us to literally stream this right into your browser, and you can play it and soon into a phone, and you can do this whole thing on your browser or in a phone like you're watching a YouTube. That technology is so bleeding edge, it just comes with a lot of cost at the moment. And a year ago it would cost 4 times this much. So we're really investing in the future of this, as like, hey, as this moves forward, we can have these incredibly rich photoreal environments that are really emotionally evocative, right? Because you feel like you're there, and widely distribute this, because VR, as wonderful as the promise of VR is, and there's BRC VR did an amazing job. That's one of the other multiverses. I was in there last night, and they did an amazing job. But graphically, it's still what we call low poly, which means it's not the rich, complex kind of world that we're able to create in Unreal, which is what we use to build the Infinite Playa. And so it's a really it's an interesting moment in time as we're contemplating what does the world look like right now without events. And as an event producer, I personally don't see us having big live events until the vaccine is out, and it's not just out, but widely adopted, which means at least probably another year, right? Because even if they release it in November or December, it's going to take a year for everyone to get it.
If it works and all that, who the hell knows?
Right, and I don't think events will be insurable until then, because and beyond that, like Zoom. Had you ever been on a Zoom before quarantine?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, a lot of people haven't. This was like my mom had never been on a Zoom before quarantine.
No, I've been using Zoom to organize Ketamine Research Foundation.
For sure, because of the work you do. But I think for a lot of people, it was not, the Zoom was not something they knew anything about. It was technology that was adopted very rapidly to meet this very specific moment in time. And that's sort of what we've done here, is try to meet this specific moment in time and say, okay, we can't go to Burning Man. Let's recreate it, for people in a way that's emotionally evocative.
Well, how close, when you do the game and you go out on the playa, there are a lot of complexities and things that you can't quite get on the bike right away unless you know where to go or things like it. But I think a lot of what was missing, and I know you were trying for it desperately, was the social interaction.
Yeah.
And how close did you get to the social interaction?
It's all there. I mean, it's crazy. We have like literally voice and video chat feature, which allows you to have a little box over your head with your actual video, like we're seeing each other now in the little Zoom box, that will go with you when you meet up with somebody. You could actually see them and have a conversation like we're having now. It's all built. It's like it's ready. It just didn't make it into this crushing press to get everything done. So
you gotta check it out. And also, you were struggling in that same domain with how many people could be on the playa at once.
Well, we work with this. Yeah, I think we feel a lot more confident about that. We work with this incredible company, PureWeb, who does all of this, what they call dynamic server scaling, which is that as your server, as your capacity comes in, they're dynamically booting up more servers to make way for all of those people. And so there's a lot of complexities with that, because then people, you only get about 100 to 200 people on a server. So being able to cross over to where your friends are, all of these things, it's like such an onion. And again, like I didn't know any of this stuff 4 months ago, and I've gotten like literally like a grad school education in the last 4 months about this kind of work. And what I now see is, I guess I'm a little bit of a futurist now, because I see where this can all go, and it's so exciting. Because again, in spite of when we get our events back, and I am a live event guy, like nothing's going to replace Burning Man for me, the actual Burning Man for me. This is, if I had to choose between, this thing I've created and going to the burn, I will choose going to the burn. So,
me too, of course.
Of course. But there's a bigger picture to it, which is that, Burning Man is under 100,000 people. And yet we believe deeply, deeply, deeply in the principles and the ethos, and want the world to adopt that, because that's what's going, that kind of thinking and that kind of belief system is going to enrich the world and make the world a better place. It certainly made me a better human. It's made you a better human. It's all of these people in our community. And so at the end of the day, being able to give this experience to the world, or to whoever is curious, to an audience that's far bigger than what the physical Burning Man can actually support, just based on what the BLM will allow into, and sorry, that's Bureau of Land Management, will allow into, the Black Rock Desert. It's going to always have limits, and this technology, cuts those limits.
Well, in the sense that speaks to one of the gifts that was enabled by what you created, and that was when we had Deepak Chopra on as our first speaker.
So cool.
And
Yeah.
he gave one of the most marvelous discussions of consciousness. And then he began to talk about this program to help people, young people particularly, who are suicidal all over the world. And it gave us an opportunity to talk and bring up with him Indra's Coalition, which is, again, another worldwide attempt to work with suffering and trauma that we're initiating in real time, but requiring Zoom and the internet at this time to do it. And so we came together and linked, and it looks really very promising for us to build an extraordinary coalition of great help to, many, many people.
I love that.
I can see it within a year spreading to, hundreds of thousands of people who are sharing their trauma, their grief, their concern in a very thoughtful way. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to get everyone, but the technology you're evolving is certainly a part of that capacity. And I'm sure we can work out things that help us adapt some of that.
I'll tell you, Elliot's one of the things Elliot's most passionate about regarding this technology is mental health. That's very close to his heart. And for me, one of the things for me is about community, which I think is associated with mental health, as we know. And yep. And I also think there's a tremendous opportunity here for education. I was thinking about, imagine that you're in a Japanese history class, right? As you know, I'm a Japanophile, and right. So I imagine having that experience of learning about feudal Japan while you're actually in this environment of a feudal Japanese village, and you're looking at, you're going over to see someone doing calligraphy and learning about how that is, but you're, instead of reading,
a little sword fighting and Romans.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Sure, all of those things. But the potential for, all of this, all of these things, mental health, education, community building, it's really tremendous. And I think there's this moment in time as we're all taking this collective breath and going, what are we doing here? What do we want our world to look like? Can technology finally fulfill some of its promise around making the world better and closer? I mean, and of course it has in many ways, but in other ways it's also, been to our detriment. And how do we work towards technology that is really connective, and 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 makes you removes anonymity. That's the thing. Like, and we didn't quite
That
get
brings
there.
feeling, that brings emotion, feeling,
Yeah.
connection, and expression into it. So it's not TV. It's really,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not smell-orama, but it's
Yeah.
feel-orama.
Right, exactly. I mean, what we call this technology on our end, we're calling this an experience engine, right? Like, that's what it is. It's you're building the ability for people to experience collectively, and shrinking the world with technology. In a way that is transportative, because that's the other thing that's missing from this Zoom meeting. We don't feel transported. We're seeing each other's faces, but I'd much rather be roaming around the playa with you, seeing your face, being able to have a conversation with you, and hop on a bike and go check out, Beats Antique, and at whatever, all of these things. And so we are so close to that.
But I would say that's all true and better. But I'm delighted to be with you. There's so much feeling going on that, this is what we can do right now.
I hear you. I'm just saying there's a lot more we're so close to being able to do, and it's
I
going
want
to
to bring
be.
it back to you for a
Yeah.
moment, because
Sure.
you did have a spiritual emotional crisis. I think it was Thursday night,
Oh yeah.
and this has been very challenging to you emotionally.
Yeah.
We've talked many times in which, I've felt your fear that this wasn't going to work, and had you bitten off too much, and doing a whole week. You decided to do a whole week. That's a lot to do. But
Well,
anyway,
because we thought that we would be able to roll in and work out all the kinks as we go, and instead we were doing that. Again, we didn't really get that opportunity. We started, but yeah, this has been incredibly hard for me. And when I look at the source of that, it's about expectations, and the weight I put on myself because I care so much about people. Like, at my core, like I think of all of the incredible artists who came together to make this happen, and us not being able to always do them justice, or make their experiences come to life in the way we thought we would be able to. And it's hard for me. It hurts me, like it hurts me to have these conversations with people and artists that I care about and say I can't deliver what we were trying to deliver here. And so I wear and not just that, for my community too. Like, this, at the end of the day, this was a gift to the community to say, guys, we all miss Burning Man. Let's, we can make something that gives us a taste, that gives us a feeling, like, for a minute, that we're back, or that we're home. And so Thursday night, after we were finally feeling like, oh my God, I think we're there, we're ready to deliver this baby, we got what should have been our launch build, which is the configuration of all of the file into the final executable file. And with bated breath, we got this at like later than we thought to on Thursday at like 8 o'clock, and with bated breath opened this up, and it was just crashing all over the place. And we had never had a problem with crashing. Not like the entire time we've been doing this, crashing was not an issue. And we looked at this, and Elliot and I were just like, we can't release this, and I was up all night tossing and turning, and our team, who's a lot of whom's overseas, we're like just worked all night through the night on daytime on their time, and we're able to turn something around, that we felt was we could get out the door. And it came down to this idea of, do you wait for to have something perfect, or do you just get it out there? And I actually had a conversation with my good friend Teddy, and I was like, I'm done, man. I had written a concession speech. I was just like, we're not going to be able to do this. We've tried so hard, and there's too many obstacles. And I spoke with Teddy, and I got on a Zoom with him, and I showed him what it was, and he hadn't seen anything. He was like, are you crazy? You have to share this with the world, bugs and all. Like, and so it's a lot of the work I've been doing as a human, I think, has been around not always having to be the strong, like, have it all together, like being able to show my messy, vulnerable side, being able to show, that I have, that I have my fears, and that I think there's a perception around me, because I just tend to do whatever I want to, whatever, like, I set my sights to, and the goals seem to get bigger and crazier, that I can do these things, and there's no fear, there's no, like yeah, it's just Helix. It's amazing. He does all this stuff, and the reality is there's often great personal toll, on me, and this one took quite a toll. Like I really was contemplating just deep failure, and it wasn't about my own failure. It was about, my feeling of wanting to do this beautiful thing for a community of people I care so much about. So yeah, so it's been really intense, and of course it's made me look at my own need to sort of please people, need to live up to outside expectations, all of this stuff. It's all learning, right? It's all deep learning, and I think I know I've let go of some things here, and I think if it wasn't Burning Man, which is so close to my heart and has been, I this would have been my 12th year, and if it wasn't so important to me, I think it wouldn't have felt like this, but it does. Like, that's just, Burning Man has been such an important part of my life, and so doing it justice has weighed heavily on me.
Well, there's the 3D part, but there's the 2D part.
Oh yeah, all of it.
And I would say that we had this week that we filled. I don't know how we did it. Speaking of stress, I mean,
Yeah.
I had this experience of, I would write someone, call someone up who I knew was way over my head, who was
Yeah.
a person in the world of great substance. I would say, would you come on and do an interview on meditation and psychedelics? And Stephen Batchelor would say, sure, I'm in France, when can we do it? Or Jack Cornfield did a beautiful thing. Or, Deepak, or it goes on and on and on and on. Bob Thurman, unbelievable. And so the quality of that, just that one set of meditative experiences that are available for people now to really tune in and get a very broad view, like 6 hours from the world's best people on meditation, what it's about, how not to fear it, and the humor of it, and the struggles, and the evolution, and the religiosity. They're just the quality of mind that has come into that. That's only one segment. If we take the art and video stuff that we put together with David Starfire, the desert dwellers, and Bloom, Liquid Bloom, etc., that Mark Seelig did with art. I mean, you could sit there, as I've been doing, for an hour and 15 minutes and just trip out with music and art that's pure and extraordinary and just takes you into other realms. I've never seen anything like that put together. We're going to make a library of that so that people can really enjoy that. Or the interviews that people have done with extraordinary humans, or the stuff around psychotherapy. We were able to present a huge swath of material about integration and what real psychotherapy is and what psychedelic psychotherapy is, and the dangers of commercialization, and the whole political aspect of it. We have a week of this that we will use within our nonprofit to benefit others and to benefit the research, which we put on also, of the foundation. So you gave us a week in which to portray something like a conference, as if we went to a MAPS conference that lasted a week, as they used to do. And we
look at this library you have now. It's phenomenal, and I'll show you. We finally, now I'm going to share my screen over here. Finally got it, so that it's working in the world too. So
and that was important. I mean, I think that's the other part of a bit of what was missing, is you'd come into a place and it would be empty. So it would make it more likely you didn't want to stay. So here we are, now we can stay. We would want to stay.
Yep. And I think, part of that's has to just do with, here's this beautiful space that was created for you. Part of that has to do, again, with the servers, and the fact that here we are on this giant playing field. I'm going to stop my screen because it's just a little funny, but I'm glad we get to actually have you in there. But here you are. You make this giant playa, and if you can only have 100 or 200 people on a server, and it's this giant space, well, even if it's filled, you're not going to see that many people. And so that's the other thing is, there's just so many lessons, right? Like, there we have ideas now of how we can do that in a very different way, and it's just it's been such a deep learning experience. And the funny part about this is we basically started, as we're sort of now forming this new company or out of all of this, we basically started with the hardest possible project you could, Burning Man, right? Like a place where you can see everything for, for miles around you. So there's nowhere to like hide things like in a game, normally it's different levels, and you hide something in the trees. And so you just see trees and then you get closer and you see more things. And here it's just like everything's there, right? So it's all these different artists. And I mean, like, it's not going to get harder than this to, to create something than in Burning Man. So yeah, so
it's very beautiful to be out there also. So
yeah.
however the limitations, going out into the space you created with all the art,
Yeah.
people have not been to the playa, then it's not quite there, but it gives you a taste of riding a bike at night, and you're out there and suddenly you come across an incredible sculpture, or you
Yeah.
come across a place that nurtures you. You did great in getting those structures up. The burn last night was fabulous. I couldn't believe you got to the burn. We never thought you would. You never thought you could burn the man, but you did burn the man.
Well, we didn't do it inside the world, unfortunately, but that was video content that we created from what was supposed to happen, And so tonight we have the temple, same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. We spent so much time doing all of these different things. They were all built. It just, again, it was just getting
and so many things that people don't ordinarily notice. I'm sure I only picked up a few, but the light changing with the time of day, from sunrise to sunset. I didn't make sunrise, but sunset into the darkness.
Yeah,
the whole kind of sense of movement and change, and just truly remarkable.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, I think we have the beginnings of something really beautiful here, and I believe, like, if we continue down this path, I mean, and we have a really solid relationship with the org now. We'll see. We don't know what they're going to be thinking or wanting to do from here on out. But I feel like if we can continue down this path, slowly, gently towards next year, as the technology gets cheaper, as we're able to, finalize some of these ideas, next year could be absolutely incredible. It could deliver on everything we were trying to do and more, and so I'm very hopeful that this is the beginning. And I know it won't just be, Burning Man that we do this kind of work with. And we're excited to see whoever wants to do, these kind of emotional creations, and
well, it seems like you're developing an online human ecology, an ecology,
like
really,
that.
an environmental kind of experience that it will change and be in different environments, but in which the connections of people become more and more elaborate and more emotional and more in dialogue with each other.
Yeah, there's this really cool, Unreal has this plugin where you can literally scan your face with your phone, and your avatar will do what you're doing. So your face on the phone will actually be controlling your avatar. So when I tell you that, like, this technology is here now and we can start implementing it, it's going to be crazy where this all goes. And I never thought I'd be in this position of doing this kind of work, because again, I am so much about, like, the physical side of, like, getting together with other humans and creating those kind of spaces. And I hope to get back to that. But wow, it really is amazing to be able to do this in this moment in time, and to see where it all goes.
We're moving towards the end of our little time together. Who would you like to give credit to? I mean, we have so many to give credit to. Maybe put a few names out for people.
Well, for my partner, Elliot, Elliot has been, like, just an amazing partner, and he's dealing with a lot. He's got a new a toddler. He's just recently moved out to Arizona. and he is such a incredible technologist and philosopher. And so, you know, the beginning of this was he and I having this crazy idea that to do this together, and you know, it's been an incredible partnership. And all of this, although there's been so many moments of tension, I don't think there's been a single moment of tension between us towards each other, which is pretty amazing, you know? And so incredible partnership there. We have a huge team of people it's like over 60 people just on our internal development team. Hubert, who was our lead CTO technologist, who is the guy who sort of from technology, who wants to do a journey with you, actually. We're going to talk about that. Who built all of this, brought this all together. The various vendors we've been using, this company PureWeb, who's doing all the scaling and helped us get everything set. And my team, you know, I have Foxy and Nova who've been helping me with, you know, all the artists, and Andrew Lynn, my man, you know, Andrew is who's been with me as my head of post-production in my company, who knew nothing about Unreal 4 months ago and has taught himself and become this core feature. Like, he's done so much of the heavy lifting on this project. I mean, I can't even. And then there's the artists. I mean, you know, Android Jones and David Satori, who put all of their energy into this incredible, you know, Mushroom stage, and Meow Wolf, who built the Cathedral, and the guys at 3D Live, who did this thing Metaform, this beautiful Visor 180 stage, and all the incredible artists who created for this space. I mean, it's just really stunning. So it's hard to. There's so many.
Wonderful. Are you going to be up tomorrow, or is it stopping tonight with the?
It'll be up for some time tomorrow. I'm not sure how long. We're going to have some conversations in the morning and see what's possible, and you know, and we'll see.
And tonight,
again, even if it goes away, it'll go away temporarily, so we can, you know, do the work that needs to be done to make it really. Yeah.
And the burn's at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. It's not going to be inside the world, but we'll have it on our homepage.
It was fun last night.
Yeah, it's a beautiful video, right?
It was fun last night. It was quite amazing. So I want to applaud you and just say thank you and congratulations.
Well, and I want to applaud you and thank you for jumping in and I mean, it's been so fun to be on the journey with you, like, because you've been such a vital part of this. And I'm sorry we weren't able to do more justice for you and have the technical challenges we had, but I'm also really glad for what it's given to you and to the organization. And it's been a joy to be on the journey with you, you know, and watch you doing all of this and bringing it to the amazing people you've brought together. So thank you. And everyone should go watch the Empyrean Temple burn on the Empyrean Temple experience that's happening at 8 o'clock.
Well, we also have our party at 8 o'clock. I think our participants party. So maybe we'll be able to do both, and working with you, being with you. You know, sharing. Wow.
Is that happening here on the same Zoom or a different Zoom?
It'll be on, I'm not sure.
Well, let me know. I'll pop in.
Okay. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you.
Bye.